Brandice Daniel. I'm the CEO and founder of Harlem's Fashion Row and the co-founder of The Great Girlfriends and the author of Sponsored, How to Get Brands to Pay for Your Next Event. What inspired me to get into fashion? Well, I've always had a love for fashion. There's always been something about design in particular that has just kind of spoken to me, even as a young girl. And so I kind of knew that was my interest. I went to college as a pre-med major and quickly realized that was not for me. Went to our career center, took a test, everything led to fashion. And so that was really kind of the beginning of, I guess, my commitment to actually deciding to work in this field. After that, I worked as an allocation analyst for Catherine's, and then I worked in New York as a production assistant before I started my own company. But I think the love was always there. So the major challenges in jumpstarting my business was really me, honestly, more than anything. It was like I had this idea. I knew like deep down that this was something I was supposed to do, but something kept telling me like, you can't do that. So it was really, honestly, overcoming my own fear, doubt about who I was, and being a fashion outsider and not knowing anyone in the fashion industry, and kind of letting all of those voices, which were my own voices, I guess trying to protect myself and defend myself from the voices that would come and make me doubt myself enough not to start. And so, I would start a little bit, and then I would be planning this event. My very first event was in Harlem in 2007, and so I would be planning the event, and then the next day I would just be paralyzed with fear, like, oh my God, what am I doing? Am I crazy? And the next day I'd be so excited about this event because I always knew that it was more than an event. And then the next day I'd be like, oh my God, I just want to roll into a ball under my bed and just like not get up. And so I think with all entrepreneurs, there's this like excitement and this passion, this purpose that fuels you. But then you have these other days where like you start to question and doubt everything about your ability to actually make this happen. And so that was my biggest challenge. When I first started, I think the thing that motivated me was really the idea. It was seeing this idea to fruition. It was like I had kind of jumped so deep into the water that I didn't really have a choice but to see it to the end. And so one of the things that I do a lot when I'm starting something new is that I'll tell everybody I know to do that I'm doing this. Let everybody know that this is something I'm about to do. And what that does for me is it motivates me to see it all the way through, because I don't like not keeping my word. And so that was the thing that motivated me. I had jumped so deep into the water that I couldn't really swim back. I had so many people tell me that I shouldn't do this, that who was I to be doing this, that they had tried it before and it didn't work. As a matter of fact, I'll never forget, I was at this very, very swanky event, and I was there and I saw someone who I admired a lot. This was after I had done my very first event. And the woman who I admired, like, she was trying to introduce me to other people like who worked in fashion so that they can know like who I was and what I had just started. And I'll never forget, this guy looked at me in my face and said, oh really? Yeah, we tried that, it didn't work. And he walked off. And I remember thinking, oh my God, all right, he's gonna see. And that was it. But I can't say that wasn't painful. It was painful because the guy was somebody who I admired and I looked up to. He didn't know me, but I knew who he was. And so to have someone kind of say that to you in your face, not even behind your back, it was hurtful. It was hurtful. When I first started even trying to get people to come on board with Harlem's Fashion Row in the beginning, everyone said no to me except one person. And then I ended up getting 4 out of the 5 people I asked to say yes, but I had to keep going back to them over and over and over and pleading my case and letting them know why I thought I was the right person for this, why I would take would take such great care when it came to their brands, why I wouldn't embarrass them. But it was hard because they would say to me flat out, like, who are you? Who can even vouch for you? And I didn't have anyone that could vouch for me. So I heard lots of doubt and lots of people who doubted me. This is New York, so people just say what they want to say. They don't care about your feelings. And so I heard it over and over, but then I also had so many other people who believed in me and who said, Brandice, I know you can do this, and what can I do to help you accomplish this? So I think it's like always a matter of kind of like what voice are you going to listen to? I think first of all, know that it's your purpose. Like, understand why you want to do it, and be so compelled by that why that you're willing to walk through the fire for it. And so for me, like, I knew that it was about designers, and I can't even explain to you, but I have such a love for designers, and not even just the designers that are out now. I mean, kids that don't even know they're designers yet, like, I love them as designers. And I think that is one of the things that has kept me going, because there have been times when it's been really, really, really tough. Like, I'm talking about rough financially, tough with people on my team, emotionally, like really, really, really difficult. There were days where I would just cry about so many things that had happened with my business. And the only thing that really kept me going, of course, number one was God. But the second thing that kept me going was I know that this was a purpose that He had given me. And because of that, anytime I felt down, I would just call a designer. I wouldn't tell them that I was going through something. I would just have a conversation with them. And every single time, basically, I spoke to my why. It kind of motivated me to keep going. So you need to have a really strong why. If I had to tell someone one thing to get started, I think it would be to read the book E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber. That book is such a game changer in terms of how you should go into business. And I have to put one more thing in there. It really is having faith. You have to know that this is going to be a big faith journey, and really everything that I've done thus far has been built on my relationship with Christ and my faith. So I have two really memorable moments with Harlem's Fashion Row. One of them was the first time I did my very first event. I'll never forget that. We were maybe an hour before the show. We didn't have a runway up. As a matter of fact, it was being painted an hour before the show. The electricity had gone out in the back. And I remember having like a total meltdown because I was just like, oh my goodness, what am I gonna do? And somebody said to me, you know what, Brandice? All you have to do is just let people wait at the door. There's gonna be a line that forms and people's gonna think this is a really hot event. And it ended up being such an incredible event. I will never, ever, ever forget how it felt to see an idea that I had come to life that first time. Like, that was just absolutely incredible. And then I think the second most memorable moment, and there's been so many, was giving LeBron James an award on the Harlem's Fashion Row stage, and having him say to me, see, I was trying not to get choked up, but Brandice, you almost did it. And so, like, you know, that was such a memorable moment. Like, having that moment where I knew that we were about to announce this collaboration that we had done with him and Nike for this shoe, and feeling like that we were all one team at that very moment. That's definitely a moment I'll never forget. You know, I think the one thing you should know is that about fashion in general is that you're always telling a story, whether you want to or not. And you're always telling that story through your clothes and what you decide to wear. And that's one thing that, if you know that, you can totally use that to your advantage. And it's just like one of those tips that I utilize every single day based on where I'm going and what I want to communicate to that audience. My name is Brandice Daniel, and I'm a JumpStarter.